So I walked out the door in my underwear, and looked towards town. I said, holy shit, what's going on?
That was Steve Swanson, longtime mayor of Prophetstown, Illinois, describing the first moment he realized his hometown and my hometown, the town he was then mayor of, was going up in flames. Yep, in his underwear, in the middle of the night, about to begin a challenging road to recovery. That's a civil servant. Join us for a conversation about the devastating fire and many other aspects of his 16 years of Prophetstown leadership.
Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer.
Hello.
Hello, Steve, and welcome to OK Boomer. There is an anniversary coming up here that's just about a year out, and that is your retirement as mayor of Prophetstown after 16 years of leading our city. Did you make the right choice in retiring?
I think so. Time for a new regime, younger, maybe. And the job, when I started 16 years ago, I was the mayor of Tampico from 1990 to 1998. In the first few years, it was pretty simple. The government didn't expect everything they expect you to do today, and the people demand more. And then we had the fire.
Yeah.
And that kind of did me in right there.
That would have done anybody in.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
And we are going to talk about that. So after 16 years, did you feel like you could walk away and say, I've done what I needed to do and I don't have any regrets? I can walk away happily.
I have no regrets. I think I say we because it takes a council to
right.
aldermen to help, but I think we got a lot done. The city is financially in decent shape. Of course, never enough money.
Right.
But we're fine. And the major things that I wanted to get done, I got done.
And we'll talk about some of those also. Let's back up and talk about your mayoral endeavors. You drove heavy equipment for quite a few years.
Yeah, 52 years.
Dang. So we're talking about bulldozers, backhoes.
Cranes, yes. Asphalt paver. I did a lot of asphalt paving.
Dang.
A little bit of everything.
I want to ask you how running a bulldozer prepared you for understanding public finance, or how operating a backhoe trained you for learning how to manage people.
Well, I was a superintendent for 20 years.
Excellent.
For two different companies, and I don't know that a bulldozer had much to do with it, but I ended up with a pretty good knowledge of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd done a lot of big, tough jobs where you were putting sewer in maybe 15, 16 feet deep, and next time might only be 5 feet, but put in a lot of water systems in Moline and Rock Island, and that's where I got most of my experience, actually.
And those skills were easily translated into some of the projects you were involved with as mayor.
Correct.
And some of those were sewer lines in town, road repair?
Yeah, sewer lines, water lines. We completely revamped the sewage treatment facility. It was close to 40 years old at the time, I think. And
wow.
It was getting to the point where we weren't having a problem with EPA, but boy, we were close. And to not purifying the sewage enough. So we redid that completely. It should be good for another 30 years or so, I suppose.
Yes, the city council can have peace of mind, at least with that very important area of operating a city.
Yeah, it is. And then, we had so much trouble with the old water treatment plant. It was approximately the same age. Um, and it just wouldn't handle it anymore. It just all broke down all the time. And we, to say the least, the chemicals that you have to add in the water system, we were doing it pretty primitively. Now it's all computer. It's done 100%. There's bells and whistles that go off if it's not right. It'll call you on the phone when something's wrong. And
That's awesome. And that costs a fair amount of money.
The water treatment plant was $6.5 million.
Dang. And how did little old Prophetstown finance that?
Government grant. We had $1.5 million within that $6.5 million loan from the government, between the federal government and the state of Illinois, and then they forgave. I think around $1 1/3 million. They just forgave that much.
Because you were able to follow through and get it installed and make it work.
So yeah, we had to raise the water rates, but we hated to do that. But we raised them as small as we could and still pay the debt.
Excellent. Well, you have to drink water. You've got to be able to flush your toilet.
You got to have water, man. And you got to have good water,
And I was thinking about, if you're planning for the future, if you're planning for industrial growth, as I know that you've got seeds planted for that, businesses don't want to come here if they know the infrastructure is not going to be able to support what they need for water.
Right. And, and there's, even there, it's limited as to what you could have come in here. I mean, you could have another Penberthy, something like that. But,
right.
The water system's only good for so much. Although our pumping system, I mean, now we can pump twice the water we used to pump.
Awesome. Well, that's a real feather in your cap. And I know that other people I've spoken with, including Eileen Detra, would say that you weren't afraid of getting down into the whatever, the trenches, the ditches, wherever you're laying those sewer lines, that you were right there being a hands-on mayor.
Okay, Boomer.
Here's Eileen Detra, longtime treasurer for the city of Prophetstown.
He knows a lot about construction, with when they did the pipes, we redid the pipes on Main Street, the waters, whatever they are.
Sure.
He helped them do that. He was in the hole working with them. Yeah.
Talk about hands-on.
He's a hands-on mayor. That's a good point.
Okay, Boomer.
Yeah, we had a crew that hadn't done much of that, So I guess I kind of taught them a little bit, worked with them, and a lot of things, just like the fire, I don't mean to keep bringing that up, but I had a plan for that, and it worked out well. I wish we sold some more lots, but it's probably not going to ever happen.
Right, but at least they're ready to be sold.
Yes, they are. For $1, you can own one. But
I love that. So, and we will get to the fire. I want to go back to the some of the waterworks things you did. You were hands-on. You were not only leading financially and helping with the grants and the loans, but actually putting the doggone equipment, cutting the holes, and getting things lined up and making them work. That's not your typical, I would think, your typical small town mayor role.
That's correct. I felt like I revamped Tampico's sewer plant. Also, it's been revamped somewhat since. But yeah, I had done a lot of that work. I worked on building I wasn't the superintendent, but I ran equipment, built a new sewage treatment plant for Rock Island, and it was, it was like 29 or 30 million.
Wow.
So it was a big project, and that's why, you learn as you go, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Dan Irick told me that you seem to take a lot of pride in these projects and making sure that they got done on time, that they got done right, and that Prophetstown was set up for the next few decades.
Okay, Boomer.
This is Dan Irick, former owner, writer, publisher of AroundPtown.com.
The other thing about him, I always thought, to this day, I mean, he would always consider Prophetstown his town. I mean, as far as, the pride and and being an integral part of keeping that town up to date and doing the best he could do to keep it, vibrant for the residents and all the, the people involved and all the various entities that thrive there, thanks in no small part to him.
Okay, Boomer.
And I said to him, so Steve was really involved with water and sewage. And I said, maybe we should put a plaque up someplace with his name and a big turd that says Steve Swanson got shit done.
What a turd, huh? Yeah, you know what? I don't know if you've ever seen the water treatment plant we built.
Okay, Boomer.
Here's Dan Dessing, longtime councilman for the city of Prophetstown.
Back when we built that new water treatment plant, if my memory serves me right, it cost like $6 million.
Dang.
And we did get some money and some help from the state. And that $6 million, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And being a taxpayer, I still have to pay my water bill every month. And the rates, no one likes seeing their water or sewer rates going up or their property tax or nothing like that. But we try to make it as less painful as possible because being a small town, the state keeps on cutting our budget.
Sure.
Sometimes we don't get as much with the state, and we have to kind of try to make our budget work for what we get from the state or what we don't get from the state. And where the water treatment plant is now, where we located at, you drive by there, you won't know what it looks like.
Right.
Because it looks like just a regular house.
Yep.
So it's in a newer subdivision there, and we wanted to make it blend in, and Steve was real good at taking care of that with the help of Brian, and we got it up and running.
Yeah. Finally dawned on me what you're talking about. And I do remember seeing that when I saw it for the first time. I'm like, well, it says it's like associated with the city, but it doesn't look like a city thing. Exactly right. Looks like a house.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it was a water treatment plant unless you go on the inside.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, good work. Good work.
Thanks.
Okay, Boomer.
Yeah, it serves really well the way it sits there right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to build a cement block building and maybe be tough on their property values. Who wants that next to them?
Excellent. Oh, I think it's fantastic. It blends right in with the subdivision. Very nice.
Yeah, and it's close to the water tower, but we didn't have any property there. So the streets that went back into that subdivision, the new subdivision there, Mr. Al Wade owned that. He started that subdivision, and he had made a deal with one of the earlier mayors, and it never got finished. The street was blacktopped partially, but it was never had the last final coat put on it. And so there was, I think, 4 lots there we ended up with. So I made a deal with Mr. Wade that if he would give us those lots, we would finish the road. And he went for it. So
nice.
That's how we ended up with the property.
You're a deal maker, Mr. Swanson.
Well, kind of watch the dollar.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Hey, let's take this opportunity right here to hear from our sponsors, okay? Brief message coming up.
Around P-Town, around P-Town. It's got the news that you can use. Around P-Town. AroundPtown.com. It's got the scoop with all the poop.
Ben's Barbershop, it's a place I like to stop. Whether it's to get a fancy do or just buzz off my mop, Ben's Barbershop. It's a place I like a lot, and you'd like it too if you did your do at Ben's Barbershop. That's Ben's Barbershop in Fulton, Illinois. Look 'em up on Facebook, make an appointment, tell 'em Jimmy I'm a doofus sent you.
I do appreciate your blue collar background, but taking what skills you did have and applying them and making Prophetstown a better place. And some of those projects aren't really flashy. They're not not even visible. I mean, sewer lines are buried, and you made the sewer plant almost invisible. So, but my point is being that some mayors might want to point to something like the Eclipse Square Park, the pavilion, which you were involved with, and say, oh, there's something we can point to, and that's a point of pride. And it is, but my point being is that that's a lot flashier and visible, but some of the things that, certainly more expensive things that you've done, and maybe more important things like getting water and sewage working, are not visible. They're kind of behind the scenes.
Right, they're out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
A lot of people never even give it a thought that some of the systems, pipes old. I mean, we still got a lot of old pipes, but it's out of sight, out of mind.
Right. So, again, kudos to you for taking what might appear as mundane tasks but important ones and getting them done, and to your council for seeing what needed to be done and prioritizing and getting on with it.
Yeah, I got to give the council a lot of credit because, they could have said when I brought all the sewer plant and the water plant and the stage in Eclipse Square that we put the roof on and everything, they really pretty much went along with it right away,
Very good. Well, not every day does a small town make statewide news. I was in the Chicago area when Prophetstown made statewide news because I was watching this huge fire on TV up in the suburb. Like, hey, wait a minute, I know that place. I grew up there. Holy crapola!
Yeah, really.
Oh my! When someone mentions the fire, what images flash in your mind?
Oh, just devastation. I had a person call me in the middle of the night and said, I think there was a fire uptown. I looked out my window, this gal says, and she says kind of a glow. So I walked out the door in my underwear, and looked towards town. I said, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I got dressed and drove up there, and they were just pulling up with the first fire truck.
Dang.
And I just got sick. It was roaring by that time into Cindy Jean's, and I thought, oh my God, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine. So that was pretty scary. And you and I have talked before. I think one of the most fortunate things was that there was no loss of life.
Exactly. It's a good thing Cindy Jean, she had, as I remember, she had said she fell asleep at the computer, and was just messing around late at night, and she happened to see it, and so she got out, and then she no more than got out, and then Dolores Francis, the police rescued her. She was asleep, didn't know it.
She was upstairs, above?
Above where Ben Franklin was, yeah.
Yeah. And for those people that are listening to this, because I do have lots of people back in the Chicago area that are listening, this is Prophetstown is a small town around 2,000. It does not.
Correct.
It does not have a stoplight in it. And you can help me out with the details here. A fire was started in a dumpster bin, I believe, in the middle of the night by a couple of wayward boys or screwing around kids.
That's correct. They Cindy Jeans had some boxes, and you know how you break down a box,
Mm-hmm.
break it apart, you know, and at that time we had the yellow recycling bins, not like the ones on wheels today.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bunch of cardboard in there. And it was underneath the steps, which had been there 50 years, probably more than that. And they started that cardboard on fire.
Oh, God.
And I mean, not thinking, it immediately just got out of it. And the cardboard took off immediately, and they had no idea that was going to happen, I'm sure.
And that was about what time in the middle of the night?
I want to say 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
Wow. And
They snuck out of their dad's house. And,
man, what a nightmare.
mm-hmm.
What a nightmare. And I had more than one person, as I was talking to him about you, say that Steve Swanson was the right man in the right job at the right time, in the sense that once the first responders were able to get control of that fire, that in fact, I think it was Ira that said, I think Steve that night might have been, or that morning afterwards, he was on the phone figuring out how we're going to get this cleaned up and how we're going to turn this thing into a positive, if at all possible. There
was this huge pile of rubble that sat right in the middle of the town. And I know from right out of the gate, and I'm thinking not even the next day, that he already was starting to work on how are we going to get this cleaned up and what are we going to do. And he was right on it. I mean, just like, you know, if a farmer went out and had a cow in distress, it's like, I've got to do something right now. I can't wait.
That's exactly right. I think within less than 2 weeks, I kind of organized a meeting of the owners of the building and anybody else that wanted to come too at the country club. And I made a proposal to them and how we should take that on, and they liked the idea, so we went with it and got it cleaned up in really, really short order.
Quite an accomplishment. And how many hours did that involve you and others getting that done?
Hundreds.
Good God.
I will say, Larry Deneve, there were 2 people that really helped me a lot. One was Larry Deneve, because he knew about property and real estate, blah, blah, blah. And Harold Erdman. I mean, a lot of people would never have thought him to be that way, but we can go into that whenever you're ready, I guess. But
no, that's fine.
So we met at the country club, and I told them, you know, some people had insurance enough they could pay to clean it up of their own building. The rest, a lot of them didn't have enough insurance to clean it up. So I said, here's what we need to do. We need to buy that property from all of them in a lump sum. All of them sell. And the city will own them, and then we'll clean them up at once. Otherwise, you're going to have one guy, he had insurance. He's going to clean up his building. The next person didn't have insurance. They're not going to clean it up for a long, long time. Could be in court forever.
Oh, boy.
So we purchased the land. I had a couple of, the only one that didn't go along with it was Majeski, which used to be the Gentz Buick garage.
Okay.
And he cleaned his up on his own, but I don't know for sure. I think looking back, he wished he would have done it the other way, but that's neither here nor there now.
Right. So,
but we bought all the properties. Right off the bat, I called the Illinois EPA and asked if they could come up here and meet with me, because there was some stuff in the basements that was asbestos on some pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, here's the deal. It's not safe to go down in those basements. And how are you ever going to get that controlled?
Right.
You know, the type of asbestos was the least dangerous, I guess I could say, of asbestos.
Okay.
And the guy from the EPA said, I'm not going to stop you from doing anything. The only thing I ask is you have when they're getting down close to the asbestos piping and they're cleaning up that portion of it with the equipment, keep it sprayed down with water so asbestos dust doesn't get in the air.
Right.
And we're good to go. So then I went to the owners of the landfill in Whiteside County. At that time, and them and the county board. At that time, they couldn't take asbestos into the landfill. So the county board agreed with me that they needed to try to get a permit for low contamination asbestos. And they passed the bill, the state approved it, and we were able to take it to the landfill. Otherwise, we had to go to clear southern Illinois with it.
Oh, gosh.
Would have cost a fortune.
Oh, gosh.
So we were lucky there. So.
Wow. Well, those were people that saw what kind of situation Prophetstown was in, and they stepped up and helped you make that
Yes,
happen.
they did. I went to 2 or 3 different board meetings, the county board, and met with waste management, and they worked out well.
Fantastic. How did you come up with the idea of buying all the lots? I mean, that's just brilliant. Take control of all the lots, and then we've got control of cleaning this thing up.
Well, I've been to a couple other small towns, drove through them, and I think Buda was one of them. Maybe I don't remember, down that way somewhere. Anyway, they had lost several buildings, and one of them was cleaned up. And to my knowledge, they're not all cleaned up yet, and that's been 20 years.
Oh, my. And you were determined not to let that happen to Prophetstown.
I told him, I said, you can't let this go on cleaning this up for years. We can do it now, and get one contractor to do it all, and that's what I did.
Wow.
Okay, Boomer.
That concludes part 1 of our conversation with Prophetstown Mayor Steve Swanson. Part 2 will be covering more of the fire and many other aspects of his tenure as mayor of Prophetstown.
Shut up! And kids, don't forget to be checking in with AroundPtown.com. It's got all the news that you can use. Stay hip, stay classy with AroundPtown.com. And for you fellas that want that hip and classy look, well, then you're going to want to get your butt to Ben's Barbershop chair. That's right, Ben's Barbershop. Look him up on Facebook.com. He's in Fulton. You make an appointment, you're going to love it. If you enjoyed listening to Boomer here, he'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to his podcast so you'd get notifications of when the next episode's coming up. Maybe leave a rating on a review. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe. That helps the podcast grow, and that makes the little fella feel so much better. And if you have any feedback for him, go ahead and contact him at ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Again, that's ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.